Ok, muta a tutti. Tranne Riccardo, che Riccardo è quello che non fa casino. Adesso, buongiorno, credo che siamo in live, buongiorno, siamo su tali parabole, Ultra Deluxe, Parable. E vabbè, già lo conoscevo da un sacco di tempo questo gioco, ma non l'ho mai cagato. L'ho visto da tipo
No,
da
aspetta
Gabby,
raga,
non mi
state un
ricordo.
attimo zitti.
E ma è uscito il
Sto aprendo il
Deluxe.
pacchetto.
Andiamo in live. Andiamo in italiano ovviamente, ecco. Scena in dove
Apro
sottolinea i testi,
pacchetto
vabbè
su
sì.
Double.
Hai giocato a stare parabole?
Porca
No.
troia!
Oh! Non si dice. Mettiamo normale la
Raga,
grafica.
ho trovato Yamorante 97.
Allora, che la inserisci l'ora attuale, sono le 21. Ma come facciamo? Come faccio a scrivere che sono le 21? E come faccio? Sono... Ah, forse di pomeriggio. Sono le 23, cioè le 21 e 14.
Porca troia!
Oh!
Porca troia!
Sono le 21 e 21.
Raga, ho trovato Ben Gordon.
Ma delle
Madonna di
possibili
Chicago
accessibilità si
Bulls.
raggiungono nel menu principale. Ok. Andiamo anche a Riccardo, che Riccardo fa casino. E adesso dobbiamo ascoltare. Ah, ok. Iniziamo così. Sta giocando a stare per... avvia il gioco. Vediamo un po'.
This is the story of a
Questa è la
man
storia.
named Stanley.
Sei di nuovo chiamato
Stanley
Stanley.
worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Allora, sensibilità non mi piace. Mettiamo a 10. Ok, così va meglio. Perché scivola. Ah, così mi abbasso.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Intanto vado sui comandi. Comandi, abbassati. Vado, interagisci, pausa. Ah, ok. Tre
And he
comandi.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok. Ma sto scrivendo su una scrivania.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ah, ecco. Oh, posso uscire dalla mappa. È un baghetto che non vorrei fare adesso. Però lo faccio.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative
Potrei
tropes.
tornare là sopra.
So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Stanco di questa scenetta. Sì.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just restart the game any old time.
No!
Like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Vabbè.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered
Ma
But the
perché?
truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly.
Veramente?
What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningless...
Ah, non posso saltare, mi hai dato il trofeo. Tiri il tuo primo trofeo. Ma... Aspetta, ci sono i trofei. No, davvero l'abbiamo disabilitato, porco dia. Non giocare a tastelle parabole per 10 anni. Regola tutti i custodi disponibili nel menu su tutti i numeri disponibili. Completa le tastelle parabole in meno di 4 minuti e 22 secondi, esclusi i tempi di caricamento. Clicca sulla porta 430 per 5 volte. Ah. 888 gioca a tastelle parabole per un intero martedì. Esci dal gioco e poi riavvialo. Come si fa? Descrizione del trofeo di prova da sostituire. Completa le tastelle parabole. Ottieni tutti i trofei. Vedi? Hai fatto tutto quello che ti abbiamo. Ti abbiamo? Che ti abbia. È scomparso. Porco di.
way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become
Anche
quite
tu
unbearable.
diverrai insopportabile. Perché avete disabilitato il salto, stronzi? Cacchio. Finito. Grazie da 20 euro. Grazie da 20 euro e da 5 euro che ho usato per comprarmi questo gioco. 25 euro per comprarmi questo gioco. L'ho comprato infatti poi. E adesso mi rimangono 3 euro e non posso comprarmi il pacchetto su Fortnite. Mi rimangono 3 euro e tipo 25. Ah, porco di. Fammi uscire! Ah. Ti rimango qua. Ma che trofei sono? Cioè, io dovete giocare. Non giocare a testa di parole per 10 anni, ma che sta fuori?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy? Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No, no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Quindi mi cambi il trofeo. No! Trofeo di prova da ignorare. Descrizione del trofeo di prova. Esci dal gioco e poi riavvialo. Clicca sulla botta 125. L'ho cliccata. Voglio il trofeo.
I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Fammi entrare.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this trophy to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Perché dovrei? Io continuo qua. Basta, solti il cazzo. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Non va. Le backroom. Fammi entrare. Sono triste. L'ho cliccato. Ok, clicco qua. Siamo al trofeo. Quindi un po'. Bellezza di prova. Esizione del trofeo di prova. Da sostituire. Esci dal gioco e poi riavvialo. Gioca a testa di parabole per un intero martedì. E clicca sulla porta 430. Ma non ho capito. Che significa? C'è qualcosa che posso fare? Mi riglitcho fuori dalla mappa. Va bene. Mi riglitcho fuori dalla mappa. Invece ho. Ah, non è torre? Se n'è andato! Sì! Yeah! Che bello, abbiamo il tempo libero. No, cos'è? No, sì. Interessante. Io odio il lunedì. Oh, sei andato? Ha funzionato. Vabbè.
When Stanley
No!
came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Qual è la porta a destra? Questo.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ciao.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all. just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Va
Stanley
bene.
simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Molto bello questo qua, mi piace. Anche questo mi piace.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Per chi è nella bella stanza? Coffee nut.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Sedita. Molto bello questa stanza. Posso rimanere qui e godermi questo panorama? E vabbè, visto che non mi va più, io esco, no, vero? Vuoi che esco? Addio stanza! No.
But at
No!
last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Questa? Non me ne frega un cazzo.
Stanley was so
No.
bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ma tu sei gay. Do not... Non mentire, se stai mentendo adesso smettilo. Se stai mentendo adesso smettilo. Ma come fanno le botte chiedersi dietro di me senza motivo logico? Warning, do not jump from the cargo. Non buttarti dal cargo mentre è acceso. Cos'era la morte? No!
Stanley, oh well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform or test your luck by jumping to the floor below.
Non posso!
Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make
Ma
it.
io sono immortale, ok, sono Stanley. Ora ti faccio vedere.
Come on. I'm sure you'll survive the jump.
No!
Don't tell me you're scared. That's not the Stanley I know. Do it, do it, do it, do it.
Sì,
do
ma
it,
se mi dai
do
la
it.
possibilità di saltare, io salterei volentieri. Vabbè, lo faccio. No!
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Stanley ora incoglionito. Perché l'avete fatto? Perché strombi? Madonna mia. Dimmi che dove iniziamo. Ah! Adesso proviamo a vedere un attimo che è successo.
All
Facciamo
of his co-workers
1,
were
2,
gone.
3,
What
4.
could it mean?
1, 2, 3,
Stanley
4,
decided,
5.
oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy? Click a door 5 times. Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Ok, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes,
1, 2, 3,
almost
4,
certainly
5, 6, 4,
50
5.
clicks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30,
No. I'm still not feeling it. I want this trophy to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Ah, non quella. E dov'è la porta 417? Dobbiamo andare di qua. 17. Oh, se ne accesso. Non me ne frega un cacchio. Ah, ecco. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 18, 19, 20.
Great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Ah! Vabbè. No, ho sbagliato porta. Don't wanna mess with the universe best and make you so useless. Ma quale sarebbe? Ah, eccolo. Non lo so.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
415. Ecco.
Now, back to door number 437.
Ah!
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Fotocopiatrice. E dov'è? Clicchi sulla fotocopiatrice.
All
Ecco.
right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Cosa? Ah, ok.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
La scrivania del pesce. Eccola. Oh. Che devo fare? Uffate. Che scorreggiato. Input received. Received. Non. Vedo tra l'input. Qua. Che cosa devo fare? Non me lo dici, sto ah, qua? Don't wanna mess with the universe best. Perché sono. Come on. È ancora acceso.
Yes!
Ah.
This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
What? Sapere. Apriamo la porta. Ah. Andiamo.
We've almost got it! Now
Allora,
the
sì.
copy machine, do that one again!
Che se faccio?
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes! We did it!
Sì!
That felt amazing. We earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you.
Sì. Ho avuto questo trofeo, clicca sulla porta 430 per 5 volte. Sì. Se rifaccio? Ah, non c'è niente. Posso andarmene? Yes. Adesso me ne vado via.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Mm. Backrooms, quindi è meglio andare di qua. Backrooms, quindi è meglio di... Backrooms. Backrooms. C'è backrooms dappertutto. Backrooms, backrooms, backrooms. Vabbè,
This was
vabbè.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Sai.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life
Okay, ciao.
without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Questa è la porta, adesso voglio provare.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ah, vorrei. Adesso sedetti qua. Però rimanere qua. Così. No, aspetta, però magari.
Oh, well, look.
No!
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Se non rifaccio che succede? Della stessa cosa. Tendi, loading never. Paoli!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Palino, ci sto.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ah, si può chiudere perché però mentre lo chiudiamo e andiamo di qua.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control
Ah,
of
ok,
the
no,
story
non cambia niente. Palli. Devo avere qualsiasi cosa che non ho mai visto nella mia vita. Questo gioco è tutto.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it. come on. I'm sure you'll survive the jump. Don't tell me you're scared. That's not the Stanley I know. Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it!
Aprita! I'll be back. Oh, allora, sono sopra. Sbaglio. Ti prego, torna. Torna indietro, Giovanni. Non voglio buttarmi. E se mi buttassi magari su quel... No, muovi lo stesso. Now you're never gonna poop again. Look like me, but got no reason. You're never gonna dance again. Aspetta. Devo glitcharmi. Già la solita, se salgo posso... Posso andare qui e posso non fare niente. Aspetta, devo vedere come c'è un modo. Quello non mi sta dicendo più niente. Aspetti, se mi butto, poi dove vado? Ah, lei c'è un po'. Oh, aspetta. Ma lì c'è un conduit. Devo provare ad arrivarci. Lì c'è un condotto. Se magari ci provo. Jesus! Vedo un cazzo. Ah, ok. Cosa sono? Ma sono caduto. Vedo un condotto. Ehi, narratore?
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path
Cosa?
that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far. You didn't think I was actually just a recorder,
No!
did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do.
Però che devo fare?
Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
No! Che è successo? No, dimmi che hai ricominciato. Don't be stupid, don't be stupid, don't be stupid. Dimmi di no. Dimmi che non ho ricominciato. E ho ricominciato.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except
Non be
badly.
stupid, don't be
The thing to
stupid.
do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing
Cosa?
will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Che è successo? Ma veramente. Io rimango. Non c'è un cazzo.
But Stanley simply couldn't
Oh!
handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his...
Vabbè. Don't be stupid, don't be stupid, don't be stupid. Pallino. Tutti i trofei sono rari. Ah, che ciò.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time. At first, all of his co-workers were gone.
Cosa?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No, da.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach. Giddy but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Dai, adesso rimango.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Fammi uscire qua. pericolo dappertutto. Monday, Tuesday, no, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. 2B1. È chiuso. Dove stiamo andando, narratore? Giovanni Barbiere, come cazzo si chiama?
Now
2BC.
listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ah, Monday, Tuesday, io odio. Io odio. Non me ne frega un cacchio. Io vado qui perché tu sei un pesce. Anzi, sono indietro. Mm, 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 mm. Io non ti ascolterò mai. Tu sei stupido. No, però vorrei tornare indietro. Anzi, no. Non me ne frega un
Aha,
cazzo.
perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still
Sì.
don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
So
Was it worth
Texas.
ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Io vado qui. Please rate your experience.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Ti do un 2. Dai, sono bravo, ti do 5.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it. I've compiled a new version, and to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Questa è riparabile. This is you. Sono 7. Stronzo! Andiamo di qua. No, andiamo di qua. Vado la terza botta.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Non dirmi che mo ricomincio da capo, non mi incazzo.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play in your experience?
È insopportabile sto rumore. Vai. No! Ah, ok.
You heartless bastard.
Wait,
Did
what's
you do
that?
it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's
No.
the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. Stavo cercando. Stiamo ricominciando. No. Oh!
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Hanno preso nessuno. Ah, si può scendere. Adesso magari secondo me si possono buttare queste buche. Non vuole vedere qualcosa. Ah.
Oh, no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly, block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
Oh, No.
Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful.
Rocket
See,
League.
this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Rocket League.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Non mi piace Rocket League, però va bene. Ah, sono veloce!
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but hold on.
Oh no!
What are you doing?
Non volevo cadere là sotto io. Ah!
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Non posso! No, senza come faccio, però è meglio. Ah! Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. È la casa del developer. È la casa del developer. Ma dai. Gesù. Io che dovevi fare in questa sala di comandi? No, quella è una cosa.
I wonder what he found.
Ah,
If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone
No.
who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
dai. No, abbiamo ricominciato. No, quando fa il cameraman così vuol dire che siamo tornati.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
L'ha
room.
ripetuto.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Stavolta
open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ma c'è una cosa adesso salvo quello che hai visto qui.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Ah! E chi è sta sci? Chi è sta sci? Ecco. Cazzo. No! No! Ah!
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly
Cazzo.
place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Come faccio? No! $400.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh,
Because-
come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
No, stronzo.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
No, io non vengo. No, morirà. Non voglio. Che brutto. No!
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
No, se non... Non sono impiegato. Premi X.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Non è che posso... tipo glitchare.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Huh.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
No, perché vedi?
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer on some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
No, che succede? Se non lo clicco. Sono un bravo bambino.
You see? Can he just not hear me?
Sì, quando si pesce!
A way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself. How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
No! Che gioco di merda! No! 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 Tuo zio è uno stronzo. Oddio! No! Ma che cazzo? Ha cambiato tutto. Ah, ok, mi sa che si veste. Cos'è?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Io ho una piccola domandina.
And here it was, the lounge. What a room, Stanley thought to himself. What a room, what a room, what a room. This is what Stanley thought.
diverso.
What a room.
Diverso il dialogo.
What a room, what a room. What a room. Va va voom. What a room.
Aspetta, Scine. O comunque verso settembre faccio
Yes.
vicino.
Really, really worth it being here in the
Verso
room.
settembre
A
faccio
room
vicino.
so utterly captivating that even
Ma
though
tu che
all
stai
your
giocando?
co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you
Ok.
sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
Ma
left.
se io vado di qua, no, visto che il dialogo è cambiato. Cosa succede? Io non so neanche cosa sto facendo. Ma io se io vado di qua, no? No. Stavolta vado, ok. Stavolta vado qui.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Andiamo. It's Batman. It's Batman. Parapapà. Pallino nel cesso. No.
Yet there was not a single person
Cosa
here
c'è scritto
either.
qua?
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Broom closet, finalmente.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Qualcosa. No. Ok.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting
Le
in the broom
backroom,
closet.
uguale.
He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact
Yes,
with, he'd be
cinesi sono nelle
justified in
backrooms.
some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet
Sono nelle
buffet.
backrooms praticamente. Pallino nel cesso.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to
Okay.
you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
No.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money.
Lo so.
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs
non
and
ancora
hookers.
Dopo lo faccio.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
No, non
Got to
voglio
this
morire.
broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed in front of your screen. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead.
Yes,
Fall
John,
prey
computer.
to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species.
Cioè, come quanto ci è
Please
voluto
remove
a
their
tradurre,
corpse
cioè
from the
fare a
area
tradurre
and
tutto.
instruct another human to take their place, making
Che ci
sure
sono la
they
lingua, c'è la
understand
lingua inglese,
basic
lingua cinese, lingua
first-person
italiana,
video
lingua...
game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming. so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is
Mi
not
si è messo
lost on
l'inglese
them.
questo invece di italiano.
All right. When you've done that, just step out into the hallway. Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do
Ma
any
si
worse
possono
than
non
the person who
mettere.
came before you.
Ma io sono fuori dal broom closet. Quindi nessuno, perché non credo che sia una lì. Io sto catteggiando da mezz'ora. No, non ho fatto ancora un landing. L'Xbox tengo io. Infatti io in questo momento sto giocando con l'Xbox, non sto giocando con la Play, perché io non ce l'ho la Play. Sto giocando, boh. Che sto giocando l'Xbox. La X-Med. Vabbè, senti.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Non c'è. No. Pure io. It's annoying, kid. Tutto sopra e ascoltiamo il narratore per una volta. Ah, c'è un cesso? Che io non so neanche così. Extreme Bathrooms. Ah, non credo. No. Non lo so. Che io ho trovato le cose che non credo che nel primo c'erano. Eccolo. Quello che era un bug, però non è un bug. Sì, io già l'ho fatto. Sono salito sulla scrivania e sono andato fuori dalla finestra. La scrivania dove sta la finestra bianca. C'è scritto to be per essere ricco. Lavo quella prima. Oh, però sto facendo parkour master. Oh, ho fatto parkour. What a life it would be to have a pick just one. Vabbè, ciao, me ne vado.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
E infatti non la so, quindi adesso mi sto.
2845.
2, 8, 4, 9. Non sa la password.
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
8, 5, 4, non mi ricordo manco più il codice. Boh, lasciamo stare. Little Batman. Che cazzo? Non c'è niente che posso fare. L'unica cosa che posso fare è andarmene via. E anche 2845, ok, mi ricordo. 2845. Inserite il codice. Oh. Che c'è? Dice c'è no. Dice we are party in Wakanda. Gotham City is never safe. It's protected. But Paolino is never etero. Adesso riproviamo. Paolino nel cesso. Nel cesso. No. Paolino nel cesso. Isaac
All of his
TV.
co-workers were gone.
Che è
What
successo?
could it
1,
mean?
2, 3, 4,
Stanley
5.
decided to go to the... Oh, please. Are you really just doing
Ma
this
già
for
l'ho
the
fatta.
trophy? Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No.
Poi dice
I
Mr.
can't
Palli.
just give
Mr.
these
Palli.
merits
Non ti
away
piace?
for such little effort. A measly 5... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley
Pallino
knew
nel
perfectly
pesso.
well.
Nel pesso.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Aspettate.
Verbal lace beat watch.
It
Oh,
We
mi
know
dato
how to
uno.
party,
Ok.
but Gotham
Io
City
rimango.
is never safe. Where's the Gotham City is a bad place. 'Cause he can never stop.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might come into a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ma... Sì. Ah, ma posso scegliere dove andare? Niente. Perfetto. Ma dai uno di quei cornetti. Sono buoni. Là? Quali mi vuoi dare?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not
2,
an indication of any
8,
human
4,
life.
5 era.
What could Stanley was in such a rush to
Stanley
get
era
through the
talmente
story as quickly
impaziente
as
di
possible,
avanzare nella
he
storia
didn't even have
che
a
non aveva
single minute
neppure
to
un minuto
just
per
let
lasciare
the
parlare il
narrator
narratore.
talk. That kind of anxiety
Quest'ansia
isn't
non è
healthy,
salutare.
so he
Quindi
relaxed
si
for a
riposa
few
un
moments
pochino.
with some calming new age music.
Ah, quindi che sono pare, ok, ho capito. Rilassante music new age. Fireplace.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Paolino? E che sono in bagno. Ah, che palle. Ma sul PC non ci sono gli achievement. Cioè, non le ha... Vabbè, visto ciucci. La linea. Anche lei devi mettere sul PC il coso. Gli achievement li devono ancora mettere su cosa. Luca?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was, but of course, nope, still on board with death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
E pallino. But Gotham Pally is never safe.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Io sono al 437, quindi io sono quello, non è vero? Ma io che numero sono? 427? Ecco. Employees 427. Employee 001, voglio vedere. Il primo. C'è uno bocciato. Paolino nel cesso. Paolino nel...
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would
Io
dismantle
posso
the
decidere di
controls
accenderla
once
o di
and
spegnerla.
for
Cosa
all.
faccio? Perché? Ma in controller. Io me ne vado. Non puoi saltare, ma perché poi questo gioco non hanno messo il salto? Paolino nel cesso. Ma cosa c'è qua sotto? Wuste Protector. C'è Dragon Ball qua sotto. Paolino nel cesso. Nel cesso. Nel cesso. Va bene, andiamo là. Lo spengo sì o no? Perché... va bene. L'ho spento. Paolino nel cesso. Nel cesso. Pa. Ma il modo più facile per finire il gioco qual è?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange But as
Sì!
sunlight streamed into the chamber,
Altri 2 episodi usciranno il prossimo mese. Che cazzo?
he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not
Possibilmente.
knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had
Sì!
not been to understand, but to let go. No
Paoli!
longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do,
Castle is
or
easy
how
to
to
break
feel.
and...
Whatever life he
Verbalist
lives,
data.
it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It
Allora,
was
questa...
perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley
quindi...
stepped through the open door.
CBB. Finalmente la season 2! Ah, posso andare? C'è qualcos'altro che potrei fare? O posso soltanto andarmene? Sono libero?
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him.
Non posso più
This was
mandarlo.
exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Che bello, questo il prossimo mese escono il CBB. Finisci il gioco, l'ho finito. Ah, ok. Ma qui c'è tipo un trofeo chiamato gioca a Stanley Parable per un intero martedì. Che significa? Ma che senso ha? E come si chiama? E non toccare il gioco per 10 anni? C'è un altro trofeo che non deve giocare per 10 anni. cosa?
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to you.
Voglio finire un attimo il gioco.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
No,
Stanley
no,
knew
no.
it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee...
Paoli? No. Paoli, ma questo gioco è difficile. Paoli? Poi giapponesi 10 FIFA.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
Bene. Posso finire il gioco in meno di 4 minuti. Dai, vediamo. Giù, muoviti! Ya, dai. Dai, veloce. Che confesso. Raga, mi sto andando a cacà. Raga, sto uscendo la cacca. Cine, devo andare a cagare. Devo andare a cagare. Non... non intrattienimi la mia live, però non credo che ti sentano, non fa niente ciò. Ti sentono poco, quindi prova ad intrattenere la live. Ciao.
Il castello è facile da entrare e per questo è che la tua ragazza è sempre rubata. A Paolino piace i pesci. Si doveva fare. Paolino è un pesce.
Ciao Gio. Ci ho messo il meno possibile, così almeno tornavo prima.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Attimo, devo finire il gioco in meno di 30 secondi. Di 30 secondi.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What
Mi sono
horrible
lavato le mani.
secret did
Sì,
this
sì, sì.
place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength?
Comunque all'improvviso,
to
mentre mi
find
stavo asciugando il culo, si sono spente le luci del cesso. Io mi sono cagato in mano.
Now the monitors jumped to life.
Però non
Their
era la
true
corrente,
nature
per
revealed.
fortuna.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers.
Sì, e poi ho
The
cagato nel
lives
bidet.
of so many individuals reduced
Ho
to
cagato
images
nel
on a
bidet.
screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
No, mentre mi stavo pulendo. Però è scesa l'acqua
This
nella
mind
cacca nel bidet.
control facility. It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy?
Ma
with
quanti
his
finali ha
boring
sto
job?
gioco?
That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Quanti Paolini ha sto gioco?
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent
Attimo,
his
devo
entire life utterly blind to the world?
Dai,
Here
devo
was the
fare.
proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions.
Devo finire il gioco in meno di
Or
4
sad,
minuti e 22
or
secondi.
content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very
sì.
place.
No,
And
quello è un
as the
finale.
cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that
Ho fatto quello dell'input là, devi spegnere il coso e... Che bello avere due carte della Play, una da 20 e un'altra da 5.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Quasi. Comunque io non volevo quella da 5 in cui tipo ti davano il codice in questo modo. Volevo quell'altra come quella da 20, però non l'ho trovata, quindi ho preso questa. Ti giuro, quando oggi ho perso il codice non lo trovo più, mi sono veramente cagato in mano. Ero disperato. Poi, cioè, l'abbiamo trovato dove... No, siamo tornati indietro per vedere se magari era al punto di partenza. Il mio amico ha guardato per terra, ho fatto la faccia stranita. Abbiamo visto c'era stava là per terra. No, perché Palli?
Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
Hai fatto?
No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how
Sei
to
caduto
feel.
dalla finestra.
Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he
Sei
needed.
riuscito a cadere dalla finestra.
It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Già l'ho fatto.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his
Io ho visto che
The
pensavo
feeling
fosse
of
infinito.
the immense possibility of
Oh,
the new
fatto-
path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was
Vediamo se l'ho fatto
happy.
in meno di 4 minuti. Quanto tempo l'ho fatto? Quello è il finale più semplice. Non mi hai dato il trofeo. Ma Gabby non continua a stare parole. Ma io già l'ho finito. No, si ricomincia.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to
Vabbè,
go to
allora
the
mi
meeting
butto dalla
room.
finestra.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Stanco di questa scenetta, sì.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it.
Comunque,
would it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is Rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you
Cioè, questo
pick
gioco
the
è tipo
other option.
Undertale, che sa che sei dentro un
You are one
gioco.
of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is
Quanto costa
lucky.
Undertale? Giova. Undertale costa 15 euro.
Ma se ce l'hai finito?
Ho finito, me lo compro. Vabbè.
Now, I've built up the other option so much.
No, non mi
I'll
voglio
just sit in this
comprare.
spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Che devo fare? Ma mi dai il finale, dai. Ecco come se... Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Ma la voce Deluxe almeno me la dà a te?
A me sì, però non l'ho ancora fatto. Io sto qui e aspetto. Allora, ci sono un po' di serie che dobbiamo continuare. Cioè due. Ci sono la serie delle backrooms su Minecraft e la serie dei Five Nights at Mr. God. Che non continuiamo da un botto di tempo. E basta. Però c'è un problema. Ci manca una persona per fare questa roleplay. Best no, Best non ci serve più. Best è Ciuccio. Silve non... Sì, pure Silve e Jay, pure lui. Cioè, vedete, Silve non viene mai, mo. Cioè, oggi ho chiamato Silve, viene a giocare e ho detto... Christian, non vuoi fare, eppure che anche lui. Riccardo pure. E qual è la nostra l'unica nostra possibilità? Infatti, io sto avanzamento 36. C'è un trofeo chiamato 8. Giova. Io c'è un trofeo chiamato 8.
Quello da fare per 10 anni basta che cambi la data.
Della Play. Come si fa?
Data ora.
Quindi devo chiudere il gioco Aspetta, se io chiudo il gioco e lo riapro. Ora ragazzi stacco la live e ritorno dopo. Aspetta, ciao ragazzi.